Hello, and welcome to Basics for Gamers presents Just the Basics of Afflictions in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Just the Basics is a special series that takes some of my longer courses and condenses all of the need-to-know information into about 10 minutes. If you would like to see the full presentation on Afflictions with all of the extra detail and examples, you can find it linked in the description. An affliction is any condition that infects a character over a period of time and progresses through stages. The most common examples of afflictions are curses, diseases, and poisons. All afflictions start with a saving throw, which is usually fortitude but could also be will, especially in the case of curses. When you are first exposed to an affliction, you attempt the listed save. If you succeed, then the affliction has no effect. But if you fail the save, you become infected or poisoned or cursed, or suffer whatever other fun the affliction has in store for you. Some but not all afflictions have an onset period. This is basically a delay. If an affliction lists an onset period of 1 hour, then if you fail the initial saving throw, nothing else happens until an hour passes. Think of it as an incubation period, like when you get the flu. You don't start feeling the effects of catching the flu for about 2 days after you fail your real-world fortitude save. So the flu has an onset period of about 48 hours. And if there is no onset period listed, then the affliction takes effect immediately. Next, let's talk about stages. Afflictions are divided up into a number of distinct stages, usually 3. Each stage has an effect listed, followed by an amount of time in parentheses. So, when you fail the initial saving throw, you then wait through the duration of the onset period, and once that passes, you gain Stage 1 of the affliction. You immediately suffer the effects of that stage, and then treat the amount of time in parentheses as another onset period. So if the affliction says Stage 1, 1d4 poison damage and sickened 1, and in parentheses next to that is 1 minute, then as soon as you gain Stage 1, you suffer 1d4 poison damage, you gain the sickened 1 condition, and then nothing else related to the affliction happens for another minute. You do not suffer 1d4 poison damage every round for that 1 minute, nor do you roll any saving throws during this time. But once the time is up, then you do need to roll a new saving throw. If you succeed, then you lose the current stage, and you gain 1 stage lower. And if you ever gain Stage 0, then you're cured and the affliction has no further effects. If you fail the save, then you lose the current stage and gain 1 stage higher. Also, the initial save and potentially the damage if there is no onset period, both may occur on the enemy's turn when you're first exposed to the affliction. But all other saves and damage from afflictions occur at the end of the suffering character's turns. And it's worth mentioning that critical successes and critical failures count double. When you critically succeed a saving throw, you lose the current stage and gain the Stage 2 lower. And when you critically fail a savings throw, you lose the current stage and gain the stage that is 2 higher. So if you're Stage 1 and critically fail your savings throw, you skip over Stage 2, ignore all of its effects, and gain Stage 3. But note that you never go to a stage higher than the affliction's listed maximum. If Stage 3 is the highest the affliction lists, then failing or critically failing a savings throw while at Stage 3 means you lose Stage 3 and then you gain Stage 3 again. You repeat its effects, but don't create a theoretical Stage 4. And the final key stat that we should talk about is maximum duration. As you might suspect, this is the longest period of time that you can be infected by an affliction. An important note here is that the maximum duration does not include the time spent during the onset period. It only covers the amount of time you're actually suffering from the affliction. If an affliction has an onset period of 30 minutes and a maximum duration of 2 hours, Then 2.5 hours after you fail your initial savings throw, the affliction wears off. There are a few other special circumstances that we should discuss too. For instance, what happens when you're exposed to an affliction while you're already suffering from that same affliction. This is one of the rare times where it's important to know what kind of affliction you're dealing with. If it's a curse or a disease, then multiple exposures have no effect. But if it's a poison, then multiple exposures require a new savings throw for each exposure, and if you fail, you'll lose the current stage and gain one higher. Or on a critical fail, you lose the current stage and gain the stage 2 higher. We should also talk about the conditions you receive from afflictions. If you are able to remove that specific condition while under the effects of the affliction, just be aware that removing the condition has no effect on the affliction. So say an affliction gives you the sickened condition and you remove the sickened condition by retching, then it only removes that one condition and has no effect on the affliction that caused sickened. The affliction continues as normal. And the opposite of that is also true. Curing an affliction does not necessarily cure the conditions that the affliction caused. If you suffer a condition from an affliction and that condition has a longer duration than the maximum duration of the affliction that caused it, then that condition persists even after the affliction goes away. And the last special circumstance I want to talk about is virulent afflictions. These are especially nasty afflictions that operate the same way as normal afflictions, except they require 2 consecutive successes to remove the current stage and gain 1 stage lower, or 1 critical success gains 1 stage lower instead of 2 lower. And those are just the basics. As a reminder, this series of abbreviated videos is meant to support, not replace, the full-length courses. If you have any questions about how any of this works, make sure you view the original full-length video that is in the description. And as always, I'd like to take a moment to thank all of our patrons. These videos would not be possible without their continued generosity and support. Members of the Basics for Gamers Patreon community receive special benefits like getting to vote on the topics we cover and also get to see these videos 1 week before everyone else. Visit the link shown in the description if you'd like to know more about becoming a patron. If you would like to support this channel and help it grow, the easiest way to do that is by subscribing and clicking the bell icon so you get notified when new videos release. And we can always be reached through our Twitter and Facebook pages too. Thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you soon with more Basics of Pathfinder.